Hello, welcome to the Self-Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start discussion on Unit 8, the conceptual and theoretical issues of power. And we are continuing our topic theoretical consideration. And subtopic is Anthony Giddens' power as dependency and domination. Anthony Giddens' concept of power in the context of interaction is rooted in terms of domination. He distinguishes between the power in the broad sense and the power in the narrow sense. In the broad sense, power is explained as the transformative capacity of human agency. Here the term capacity refers to the capability of an individual to bring about a change in the course of a series of events through intervention. On the other hand, power in the narrow sense is largely rational. It is the capability to effect results when these outcomes depend upon the agency of others. The basic difference between the two lies in the agency. While use of power in the broad sense is grounded in the capability of an individual to effect outcomes directly, the use of power in the narrow sense is grounded in the capability to effect outcomes in situations while they depend upon others. More specifically, in the narrow sense, the power implies dependency upon the agency of others and the capability of an individual to prevail upon them. The thirst is on domination on the part of the individual who may be said to hold power and compliance on the part of others over whom the individual exercises control. This relationship then may be understood as one of domination. Thus Giddens writes, it is in this sense that men have power over others. This is power as domination. Giddens' basic conception of power has to do with acquisition and use of resources or capabilities expressed in struggles and subordination. In Giddens' own words, power is in either the broad or restricted sense refers to capabilities. Unlike the communication of meaning, power does not come into being only when being exercised. Even if ultimately there is no other criteria whereby one can demonstrate what power actors possess. This is important because we can talk of power being stored up for future occasions of use. Later, Giddens suggests that the reproduction of structures of domination leads to generation of power. Power therefore depends upon the distribution of resources and capability of individuals to make the most of them effectively. He upholds that in actual situations everyone does have possibility of exercising power. An individual in the subordinate position is never completely dependent and is often able to convert the available resources into some degree of control over the conditions of reproduction of the system. Giddens opines that the power is not always oppressive. In fact, power may best be understood as the capacity to achieve outcomes. In fact, power flows smoothly in the processes of social reproduction, in the larger matrix of structures of domination. More importantly, despite the fact that constraints of power cannot be ignored, power is often a medium for attaining freedom or emancipation. Now let us move to the next point, Michel Foucault. power as domination. Michel Foucault identifies power with domination in conceptual, methodological, and political terms. He distinguishes between the character of modern and classical power within the framework of domination. Disciplinary power as a modern form of domination stands out in sharp contrast with the sovereign power as pre-modern domination. Firstly, while disciplinary power is constant and completely pervasive, sovereign power is periodic, therefore not constant, and of low social penetration, therefore not all pervasive. Secondly, while domination in the disciplinary model makes the required action happen through political rationalities and technologies of power that seems to be inescapable, domination in the sovereignty model is expressed through prohibition, and if that fails, the punishment for the action which should not have been performed. Thirdly, while in the disciplinary model there is contrasting constitution of actors, subjectivation in the sense of control and dependence, the sovereignty model is based on the giveness of the actors involved. In the words of Foucault himself, this modern form of power applies itself to everyday life, which categorizes the individual, marks him by his own individuality, attached him to his own identity, imposes a law of truth on him, which he must recognize and which others have to recognize in him. It is a form of power which makes individuals subjects. There are two meanings of the word subject: subject to someone else by control and dependence, and tied to his own identity by a conscious or self-knowledge. Both meanings suggest a form of power which subjugates and makes subject to. This implies that the law of truth constitutes the defining criteria of modern form of power. Further, modern form of power is based on relations of domination, hierarchy, asymmetry, and control. He maintains that new form of domination develop, and he argues that the liberation or freedom both at the individual level and at the collective level from the constraints is not possible. According to him, global public oriented emancipatory politics is not possible. Surely Foucault has been charged with a kind of fatalism inherent in the conception of power. Now let us wind up the session and take rest. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self-learning podcasts.